Hi there. Do you need more music books to practice your sight reading out of? In this video, I'll show you the books that I recommend to my piano students when they want to practice sight reading. Now, it can be really challenging to select music for yourself when you can't actually see what's inside the book. So in this video, I'll be flipping through the books just like you would if you were in a music store and you could look through them so that you can see what you're getting. I'll be reviewing these books in order from the easiest to some intermediate sight reading practice material. I have Amazon affiliate links in the description below for each of these books so that if you're interested in any of them, you can find them conveniently. I will make a small commission off of any purchase you make through those links. Lastly, I do have a video on how to sight read more accurately or how to get better at sight reading faster. So if you want to check that out, the link is in the iCards and the description as well. With that said, let's start the review. All right, so we're going to begin with Royal Conservatory's 4-star sight reading books. Now this is a level 1, and this is the easiest sight reading music you could get as a beginner. So it's great for beginners, except I usually don't recommend it because my students tend to be more tactile or hypersensitive, and for them, having all this distraction on the page really doesn't work. Let me see, I think it's a bit blurry here. All these extra instructions are very distracting, and they actually take away from sight reading and make it more confusing. 4-star is a great resource for sight reading. I usually don't recommend it because it's too distracting for most of my students. But if you find that you don't get distracted very easily and that looking at all of this isn't overwhelming, then it's a good resource for you. And they run from levels 1 all the way up to level 10. And you specifically want the 4-star sight reading, not the Etudes, not the Repertoire, or the Tech. You want 4-star. Now the next easy one is Bastien Piano Basics Technic Primer Level. Now you're gonna waste about 4 pages in this book because they start you with notes like this, not on the staff. So I wouldn't even start there. Start here, where they give you just right hand, just left hand, if you're very brand new, but preferably start here where they've got both hands together. So for this and for 4-star sight reading, they'll be good for any pianist who's been practicing for about a year. Now, I actually don't recommend that you start getting your sight reading faster and better until you've been playing for at least a year, because by then you have a good sense of what your notes are and you'll be reading more fluently. So this is good for a year. The next level up, this one and Alfred's Premier Piano Course, Pop and Movie Hits, are both in a similar ranking, but I think this one's slightly easier, so we'll go over this one first. Now, the benefit of the Alfred's Premier is you'll recognize quite a few of these songs, and so you'll know if you're getting something wrong. As you can see, they have a good selection here. They have Puff the Magic Dragon, Inspector Gadget, Supercalifragilistic. Lots of songs you'll be familiar with. Now, in my sight reading video, when I explain to you the formula I recommend for learning to sight read better, I say to play up to 3 times. Now, for something like this, where it's multiple lines, I don't want you to play the whole song 3 times. Don't do that. It's too much information. Take just 1 line per practice session and play this 3 times. Editor Tia here. So I realized this instruction could be confusing for some learning styles, so I want to explain what I mean. Here I'm just pointing to the first line, and I'm saying you should only practice 1 line at a time. I'm not saying only practice 1 line out of your songs. So one time you go to practice sight reading, sight read this first line. But then the next time you go to sight reading, put aside the first line, play the next line. Then the next time you practice sight reading, play the next line. So none of your sight reading is going to waste. You're going to play all the music that's there, just not all at once. Each practice 1 line. with the instructions given in the formula, and then you'll find you'll make more progress. Remember that sight reading is not about learning an entire song and polishing it. It's about just playing new music in one go. So take this kind of resource just one line at a time. All right. So the Bastien Piano Basics Technic Level 1 is the next hardest, and this is what it's going to look like inside. So you can see you've got some black keys, you have some ties, you have some different rhythms. The nice thing about the Bastien Technic books is that they rely a lot on patterns, so it's really easy. It's easy to play and very rewarding because it's easier to recognize patterns, simple patterns. And so by the end of Technic 1, you're playing music like this. So we're still in, you've done your first year of piano, you're starting your second year of piano. Or maybe you're already in your second year of piano, you're moving into your third year. So this is another Alfred's Premier Piano course. This is the song list in it. This is 2A. There's also a 2B, but I don't have it on hand. I'll link it in the description. It'll be a little more difficult than 2A, and it'll have a different song selection. So once again, you just take one line of music, or, okay, this is a good example. You see we have this slur overlapping this line. So here, you don't actually want to start here and go to here, because you're going over multiple slurs. You want to start at the beginning of the slur and play to there, especially if you're following that formula. And then you pick up from the next slur, you play to there. So that counts as your one line of music. Okay. So this is what this book looks like. Here we have Happy Birthday to You. That one's really easy. So even though it's at the end, it's one of the easier songs in the book. This is probably your most challenging song in the book. But it's a fun one. Okay. Now next we have Bastien Basics Technic Level 2. This you'll want to do in your second or third year, because as you can see, it's already getting much more challenging. Each line is longer and more intense. So the nice thing about the Bastien books is that they're generally progressive. You're going to get more and more difficult toward the end of the book, so it moves you up into the next level with a really smooth transition. All right, then we have more Bastien Piano Basics. This is Technic 3. This is going to start to look super intense. So here you're going to be 4 to 5 years into piano. Remember that when you're sight reading, you want to pick music that's easier than what you already play. So if this actually looks easy to you, it's a good selection. But if it looks challenging, it's not a good selection. Oh, the bonus to this Technic Level 3. This is an older copy, so I'm not sure if it'll be in the newer copy. But the bonus here is you're going to have scales. And so if you're interested in learning scales, I actually have a playlist walking you through how to play scales. But if you want a written resource, this is a good one. All right, Pop and Movie Hits 3, Alfred's Premier. This is the list here. We have some more like rock and pop. And it is also more difficult. So I'm showing you the inside of these books so that you can see what you're getting into. Because if you were buying these at a music store, you would look through them to see what you were going to play. So we may as well look through them while you're here. I'm not sharing them to share the music with you because there's copyright issues associated. All right. Here is Dozen a Day, Book 3. Now, book 1 is very simple. and it's going to be good for first-year pianists, kind of like these two books. I don't have book 1 on hand, but that's all right. Book 2, you're going to be in year 2 or 3 of piano, and by book 3, we're approaching intermediate. So you've been playing for quite some time, and this is actually looking easy to you because you've run into stuff like this before. Alright, so let's flip toward the end. Dozen a day, I believe, is also more gradual, like it'll get progressively more difficult. Now, the really nice thing about the Dozen a Day series is that it, like the Bastien Technic books, relies a lot on patterns. And so it's easier to play once you can discern the pattern. And it'll train you to recognize patterns in the music you play daily. Now here you're definitely in intermediate playing, because this is what you would be sight reading. Once again, you would just take a line and sight read through the line and do your best on that. There we go. So that's what you're looking at with Dozen a Day, book 4. All right. That's quite an old book. It's falling right apart. Okay, Pop and Movie Hits 4 for Premier Piano. Here's the list. It's a really good selection in this book. Got Pink Panther, Batman Theme, Be Our Guest, Cruella de Vil. Lots of good stuff in here. And once again, you just take one line and play it the best you can. Use the formula in my other video. So these are much more challenging. There we go. So now we have Royal Conservatory Piano Repertoire Level 1. Now you can use the Repertoire books or you can use the Etudes books, and it's going to be around the same level. And you'll want to sight read out of this kind of level if you're playing level 4 or so. Because once again, you only want to be sight reading easier music than what you already play. So if this looks challenging to you, don't be sight reading out of this. You can learn pieces out of this to up your skills to bring you into a different level, but to sight read, you want the easier music because you want positive reinforcement for your brain. So those are my top recommendations for beginner all the way to early intermediate. Thank you for watching this review. I hope that you found it helpful and you know what resources you're going to use for your sight reading. If you're interested in buying any of these books, the Amazon links are down in the description. And if you want to learn how to sight read better, check out that video as well. If you like the video, please like it. If you know anyone else who would also enjoy it, please share it with them. If you have any feedback or you want to tell me what resources you use to sight read, leave that in the comments, and if you would like more, subscribe.